I know you missed me. I'm back. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Big Lake and Southern Build-Out, home of the Little Signal Company. In our last video, we were cheeky and mentioned that we needed to cross the trestle before we planned more gardening. In case that wasn't clear, that was a teaser. In the next 3-part series of episodes, we will be going through our trestle bridge construction. This is an enormous project, but we can't argue with the results. So let's get the brake pulled, the steam turned on, and start heading down the track towards the trestle bridge. Our Phase 1 layout has 2 heights to it currently. Approximately 2 feet off the ground are the main lines and siding, which will loop back at nearly ground level, running adjacent to the raised part next to the lanai. As the main lines approach the magnolia, however, they split off, one descending 10 inches before heading into the tunnel, and the other, well, that's where we needed to get our engineering hats on to design a bridge, specifically a trestle bridge. First, we had to lay out where the bridge would be, and that required a lot of measuring and positioning. The bridge will be 3/4 of a 16-foot diameter radius curve that will head down to grade level after it passes the crossover of the lower track. This means that for a 2% grade slope, the bridge needs to extend approximately 48 feet. The point from where the trestle starts to the crossover bridge is approximately an additional 20 feet. In total, the trestle will be 68 feet long. Wow! After these calculations were done, the retaining wall for the south side of the magnolia was placed. Bricks were put into place, sand was hauled in by hand, and capstone after capstone were added to the top to finish off the raised grade for this area of the layout. Phew! The next step was planning the trestle itself. We used Great Northern Railway standard frame trestle plans from 1921 and converted the measurements into AutoCAD. From there, we scaled the trestle drawing down to 1/25th scale for G layouts. This is an in-between of 1/20th and 1/29th, which are G scale ranges. We then imported this into Fusion 360 to assist us with designing the jig parts to accurately build the trestle pieces. We added a stretch of concrete to lead up to the trestle itself. This will help us set the initial level of the trestle and provide a solid starting foundation for the trestle and attaching braces. Using levels, lines, and measurements, oh my, we calculated the height of each trestle, which spans 6 inches apart from each other. With measurements in hand, it was off to the shop to start constructing the pieces. We used pressure-treated 2x4 and 2x6 wood boards that we cut down to size with a table saw for both the main supports and the thin support planks. The supports are approximately 1/2 inch square to represent 12 inch by 12 inch, and the planks are 3/8 in width and about 1/8 inch in thickness. This represents 2x10 plank lumber. We modeled as much as we could off the plans, including accounting for the slope towards the inner part of the curve at about 5% max. I did that in one take, not to brag or anything. Well, that was a lot of measurements and numbers we just threw at you. So let's pause for a moment and once again ask that if you are enjoying this content, please locate that like button and click it. Then, to make sure you are receiving notification of new content, find the bell icon and click that too. We wouldn't want you to miss any of our exciting Garden Railroad shenanigans. So go ahead and do it right now while you're thinking about it. Go on. I'll wait. Well, really, you just need to pause the video and do it already. Did you unpause the video already? Okay, let's get back to it. The first 21 pieces were assembled by using our jig, placing our supports, cutting to angle, and gluing together. We then nailed the top and bottom boards to the supports to further secure them in place. The whole trestle was then sanded with 400 grit sandpaper, followed by installation of the planks. The planks were measured to location, placed with glue, and nailed as well. After that, they were stained and then epoxy set to bricks to give them further foundational support and weight. This last piece was important because it allowed us to easily set each trestle piece with precision on location, squareness, angle into the curve, and stability when placed. We had some help from a friend who flew into town for the week, along with some fellow FGRS members. If you don't know what FGRS is, it's the Florida Garden Rail Society. If you are interested in knowing more about them or even joining, you will find a link to their page in the description. They are a great organization that we are proud to be affiliated with. Go check them out. With a lot of us at the ready, we carefully placed all 21 pieces and positioned them accordingly using a string tied to the center portion of the 16-foot curve. Since this portion of the track is not descending, all trestle pieces were set to the same height. 6 inches apart and squared vertically to the center of that 16-foot circle. Once they were down, the plank weaving began. At first, we wanted to replicate the exact placement of the planks in the original designs. However, we stumbled upon a weaving method by manipulating the planks as we connected each trestle piece. We unanimously agreed that the weaving method gave the trestle a lot more character. So we weaved each piece carefully, gluing all pieces that connected with each other to give greater support and strength to the trestle connections and bridge itself. Each end and any crossover of another trestle was nailed in place. From right to left, across 3 trestle sections, we nailed in a pattern of top, bottom, top, across. This created the woven pattern that we agreed not only looked appealing and grandiose, but also provided exceptional strength for the bridge. When we reached the smaller height pieces, we simply did a crisscross pattern. To ensure total stability of the bridge, we ripped and sanded some lengths of PVC deck planks to scale size and attached them with stainless steel screws to the trestle tops. We measured and laid out a line to follow which matched location of these beams. These are the beams that the rail ties and rail would attach to. Carefully bending one, and subsequently having a small piece break off the end, so maybe not quite so carefully after all, and then adding the second, the first side of the main cross beams were now set in place for 3/4 of the bridge. Finally, with the stringers in place, decorative pebblestone down to apply not only an aesthetic faux river look, how chic, but a more finished covering over the bricks, we began laying track onto the first part of the trestle. We placed our track on the concrete approach using the train-lee rail bender and bending as needed to adjust for the curvature towards the entry of the bridge. We secured that to the concrete and then began placing straight lengths of track onto the trestle. Continuing to carefully bend sections of the track, we secured each piece to the rail stringers when it was centered onto the bridge. Prior to this point, we had not completed all the weaving. Thus, we went back to weaving and finished all of that off, staining all the cross-planking afterwards and placing the final touches onto the first part of our trestle. With phase 1 complete, we spruced up the remaining gardening with some purple calla lilies and a few other smaller plants to fill in the spaces. We are overjoyed by the construction thus far. Drop us a comment on how you think the progress is coming along. We would love to hear from you. At this point, this leaves us with 4 things to do to continue onwards. 1. Begin construction on the bridge that will cross over the other main line. 2. Align the next portion of the trestle to what has been built already. 3. Build a metric ton more of trestle sections. 4. Bask in the glory of the project being finished sometime this century. We will cover these in our next episode, along with an idea, thanks Art, on how we can utilize the switch we placed on the main line coming around the Magnolia and the Trestle Bridge. This will really switch things up from our original conception of design and provide alternative routes for our engines to go. If you're curious to know more, you will have to tune in to our next installment episode of the Trestle Bridge build. Good thing you hit that bell icon to be notified once that episode is released, am I right? Bye for now!